John 3, 1 through 17. Please feel free to read along by turning to page 93 in the New Testament portion of your Pew Bibles.
Now there was a Pharisee named Nicodemus, a leader of the Jews, who came to Jesus by night. Rabbi, we know that you are a teacher who has come from God, for no one can do these signs that you do apart from the presence of God.
And Jesus answered him, very truly I tell you, no one can see the kingdom of God without being born from above.
How can anyone be born after having grown old? Can one enter a second time into the mother's womb and be born?
Very truly I tell you, no one can enter the kingdom of God without being born of water and the Spirit. What is born of the flesh is flesh. What is born of the Spirit is spirit. Do not be astonished that I said to you, you must be born from above. The wind blows where it chooses, and you hear the sound of it, but you do not know where it comes from or where it goes. So it is with everyone who is born of the Spirit.
How can these things be?
Are you a teacher of Israel, and yet you do not understand these things? Very truly I tell you, we speak of what we know and testify to what we have seen, yet you do not receive our testimony. If I have told you about earthly things and you do not believe, how can you believe if I tell you about heavenly things? No one has ascended into heaven except the one who descended from heaven, the Son of Man. And just as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, so must the Son of Man be lifted up, that whoever believes in him may have eternal life. For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, so that everyone who believes in him may not perish, but have eternal life. Indeed, God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but in order that the world might be saved through him.
May the Spirit of wisdom guide our understanding of this scripture.
Amen.
Will you pray with me? Gracious God, it is our prayer today that the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts would be acceptable to you. With you remain our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. We all know about first world problems, right? Things we shouldn't complain about, but we do because we just do. Internet speed, TV remote malfunctions, discovering there is no milk in the fridge after pouring our cereal. First world problems. There's a nice video piece that's making the rounds on social media. You may have seen it. There's a young boy sitting on a pile of rubble in his third world village that has just been flattened by an earthquake. He says in halting English, "I hate it when the leather seats in my car take so long to heat up." Then there's a little girl standing in front of an abandoned school bus that looks like it's being used for housing. She says, "I just hate it when my phone charger doesn't reach all the way to my bed." First world problems. And here's a first world problem that we can all add to our list this morning. I hate the Sunday when daylight savings time goes away. And we lose that precious hour that we've been taking for granted ever since it was granted to us last fall. Losing that precious 60 minutes of our lives. It's unjust. It's unfair. What is it about that hour that gets taken away from us? Why does it upset us so? It's such a minor item. But if you're like me on those first few mornings, when it's all dark, it's supposed to be light, and our bodies are trying to adjust to what should be nothing, we snap at the first person we cross paths with. And then, I'm sorry, it's just that time change. First world problem, right? The good news, of course, is that this time change that taketh away our mornings, giveth back our afternoons. Once again, it will be possible for us to take a long walk after school or maybe after work, assuming we don't get too much snow. And enjoy that glorious time of day when the sun takes its time and the afternoon slowly gives way to darkness. Do you have a favorite time of day? I love the late afternoon. There's nothing quite like walking into the slowly descending darkness. There's just so much to be seen. If I get out early enough to walk the dog, I get to see a big group of kids who have just spilled out of their school bus. Last week there was a clump of kids, probably middle school kids, that poured out of the bus like ketchup being squeezed out of the bottle. And they're all pushing each other, and they're all acting like hungry little puppies, teasing each other about something that happened earlier that day. You should have seen your face. Yeah, whatever. But you know, over there, away from the group of kids, is the one kid starting her walk home by herself, with nothing but her headphones to keep her company. Is she walking by herself by choice? Could be. Or is this her place in the infamous middle school pecking order? Remember that pecking order? Some of us just normally walked by ourselves from the bus. It's still afternoon and the slanting light is plenty bright, but there she is, walking in a little carved out place of darkness. Can you see her on the way home by herself? Maybe she's thinking about what she should have said to someone she really likes, but until today she had no idea that he knew she even existed. Or maybe she's already worrying about what high school will be like, because middle school hasn't been all that great. Maybe she's just into the music. No matter. Whatever is on her mind, she's done what Nicodemus did with Jesus. She's carved out a piece of darkness and stepped inside for a while. Coming up on Edmondson Avenue, you glance over to the left, over at the local watering hole, and watch as a well-dressed guy gets out of a fancy car. The car beeps as the doors lock, and he disappears inside the bar. And he could be going inside to meet a few of the guys so they can fill out their tournament brackets, right? Or he could be looking for a quiet space at the end of the bar, just a little sliver of darkness, where he could take a few minutes to figure things out, to figure out how he got himself into this mess, and to figure out what he needs to do to get himself back out again. Nicodemus, finding just a little darkness to help him think things through. On down the road, as the shadows lengthen, there's the church, this one. People are crowded around the door, but it's not the front door. It's the one that leads into Fellowship Hall through the courtyard. One or two folks are carefully putting out their cigarettes in the big coffee can before they walk in for their regular Monday evening 12-step meeting. For at least one person, I imagine it's her first time. She just needs that hour, under the cover of just enough darkness to say what's really been on her mind, to people who will understand and who will not judge. As dusk approaches, the sky in the west catches fire, giving off just enough light to make your way back home, pass a few others out walking their dogs. But most folks don't speak too much, when you're walking your dogs. Evening. Can you believe it's going to snow tomorrow? That's about it. One of those walkers I know is thinking great thoughts about what to preach on Sunday. One of them is short of breath again and trying to get the courage up to finally call the doctor and schedule the appointment. She just needs a little walk to firm up her plan, just like Nicodemus. I imagine at least one is wondering what he's going to do with his son now that this has happened. Certainly one is just trying to figure out what she's going to put on the table for dinner. It's good and dark as you walk back home. The houses on either side of the road are lit up with signs of life. Inside those houses there are, of course, family dinners being eaten, practice sessions on the horn, science projects being prepared on the dining room table. But in just about all of those houses, there is that peculiar darkness of one person sitting in front of a computer screen. We all know that brand of darkness, right? It can grow way out of proportion, but sometimes that little sliver of darkness allows just enough anonymity to start something new, or to do a little research on something that isn't quite ready yet for the light of day. Each of us has parts of our day, don't we, that are filled with light. When we are in the mix, we are at the meeting, we might be leading the meeting, we are in front of the class, we are putting in the IV, we are making the presentation, we are on and doing what we do. And then we all have those parts of our days when the darkness descends for a little while, and we find a way to be by ourselves, to give us just a little time to figure things out. Well, once upon a time, there was a man named Nicodemus who was troubled by a few things during the day. So he waited until it was night to come to Jesus. The only time we know of Jesus having a conversation with someone after dark, like this. Nicodemus was a Pharisee. He was the kind of person who was supposed to have things figured out. He was also supposed to be naturally skeptical of people like Jesus with charisma, people who were new, who were all the rage, people who played a little fast and loose with the great traditions of faith. As a Pharisee, Nicodemus was supposed to be a little bit leery of people who could do the kinds of things Jesus was said to have done. What was that business of changing water into wine? Sounds like a little bit of showmanship to me. As a Pharisee, Nicodemus wasn't really supposed to be meeting with someone like Jesus. So he met with him at night. Most of the time we hang out with people like us, don't we? But sometimes we're drawn towards someone who's different. Nicodemus was somehow drawn to Jesus. So he does what all, or at least some of us do, when we're wondering about something, but we're not quite ready to let the world know. Nicodemus came to Jesus in the night and asked him, "Rabbi, tell me about this business of being born from above. Rabbi, tell me what it might mean to really change the course of my life. Rabbi, I might be having some doubts about all these things I'm supposed to be so sure about. Rabbi, something in my life just feels like it's ready to change. Rabbi, I'm just trying to figure things out, and I need you, and I need a little darkness." Old Nicodemus, he was confused by Jesus. He was troubled by Jesus. He was not sure what to make of Jesus. But in the end, he was drawn to Jesus. And so one day, Nicodemus takes a walk in the late afternoon as the darkness falls. And that little slice of darkness, right there on the edge of where everything else was happening, that little bit of darkness was exactly what Nicodemus needed for what was troubling his heart to rise up to the surface. Now, I know that the prevailing wisdom of church, maybe the reason we make the effort to be part of church, is because we hope and pray that church will offer us the light we need to help us live our lives. Every day I hope for the same thing. But the other thing church at its best can do for us, before it sheds the light of Jesus, is to help us find Jesus like Nicodemus did in the dark. Wouldn't it be nice if all of us who are gathered here today were among the people who have it all together, who have everything figured out, and who are called to share from our abundant wisdom with the world? We could put it on the church side. Come inside, everyone. We are the ones who have all the answers. Wouldn't that be nice? But until that day comes, we might want to do our best to be the kind of church that is willing to walk with each other through the darkness. We might want to be the kind of church that reaches out to Nicodemus and draws him in and says, it's okay not to know. Because the truth of the matter is, not all problems are first world problems. Sometimes that darkness descends on us like a heavy curtain. We aren't sure where to go for help or where to take our next step. And when that happens, before we need anyone to tell us where to go or what to do or who to be, we just need someone to come and find us. That's what Nicodemus needed. And that is church.